Hey everybody, welcome to our next portion of the lesson. Task for today are to watch this video in the PowerPoint that I put together on cooking methods. Then you will open the text documents that I have in the assignment. You'll make a copy of the graphic organizer. You'll take notes using the text documents, and then you will upload that for credit to me. At the very end, before the period ends, please complete an exit log so that I'm able to give you credit for today. All right, so let's talk about the different cooking methods that are available to you. All right, let's talk about food processing. Almost all food, is processed in some way before it gets eaten. If you think about commercial food that you buy in the grocery store, commercially manufactured food, those food products are processed for several reasons. One would be to eliminate the microorganisms, which could either cause disease or illness. The other is to extend the shelf life of the product so that it can be stored in the grocery store or even in your pantries at home for a length of time. So when you're processing, there are certain effects that alter the nutritional value of some food items. For example, folate, thiamine, vitamin C, these are all unstable types of vitamins and minerals, and they get damaged during processing. But you also have niacin, vitamin K, vitamin D, biotin, and pantothenemic acid. These are a little more stable, but they still also get altered during processing. So what kind of processing are we talking about? All right, we'll start talking about fertilizer. Most plant crops are produced with the aid of fertilized soil. That could be manure being spread on the soil, chemical fertilizer being spread, and it's important for the plants to get nourishment, vitamins, minerals, and the soil to get replenished between crops because of what they pull out. However, high use of nitrogen fertilizers tend to reduce the vitamin C content in many fruits and vegetables. So they're paying particular attention in how much nitrogen they're using. They also test your water for nitrogen because it's bad for us. It's not good. Okay? Next one is milling. Cereal such is made from wheat, and when it's ground off of the fibrous husks, the husks contain most of the plant's dietary fiber. So it's got B group vitamins, it's got phytochemicals, and it's got some minerals. So when that product is milled, it loses all that nourishment. So that's why products such as white bread and things that are overly processed has very little nutritional benefit. You're much more better off getting whole grain varieties. Even if products are artificially fortified, you still do not get what it had in it before they milled it. Okay? So it's impossible to get back everything that they've taken out. All right? Now let's look at canning. When you can something, it stays for a really long time as far as leaving it on a shelf. It doesn't have to be refrigerated. And the reason being is because when they put the food item in the can, they heat the inside of that can to a really super high temperature. And that kills any microorganisms that, were possibly in there. It also takes care of the air that was trapped in there. And it extends the food's shelf life. So some types of microorganisms require severe heat temperatures to make sure that, it is killing those organisms. So it also affects the taste and texture of the food, making it a little less appealing. So preservatives are generally added in canned foods to, help. And usually it's a lot of sodium. So canned vegetables are very high in sodium. However, water-soluble vitamins that were in that canned product are particularly sensitive to high temperatures. So when they're canning the product, they're killing all of those water-soluble vitamins. So it's really not your best option. Which brings me to freezing, and that's why it's highlighted and has a star next to it. The nutrient value of food that is frozen, the nutrient value is retained. Okay, the only time that nutrient is losing any kind of, or that product is losing any kind of nutrient is in the waiting time, like after it's picked. Items start, food products start losing their freshness, losing vitamins. Every day that that food product is in the store, like your produce, every day those strawberries and blueberries and apples are sitting in the store, they are losing more nutrients. So the freezing process stops the loss of nutrients, okay? Then when you take the frozen vegetables out, or fruit, whatever you're doing, and then you cook it, you lose more during the cooking process. But in the frozen state, that is the best way to be, because your product is not losing anything. So getting it from farm field to the freezer in a very short amount of time is your best bet. Okay, so are there benefits to cooking food? Yes. It would be inaccurate to say that cooking foods always lessen the nutrient value in food, because that's not the case. The reason for cooking is, one, it makes food tastier. I'm not sure about you, but, eating fish or meat raw not only would make you sick, but it's not very appetizing. Think of vegetables. There are some vegetables, I don't mind eating a pepper into strips, or carrots raw, things like that, but eating broccoli or cauliflower, not so much. Okay, so it makes the food taste better. It breaks down part of the vegetable that would otherwise be indigestible. So depending on certain types of vegetables that you're eating, when you cook it, it actually breaks down the cell walls and releases, or makes it easier for your digestive system to gain all those nutrients. It also destroys bacteria. Okay, so having high temperatures, we did Serve Safe, we know that, also kills bad bacteria. And then it makes phytochemicals more available, especially in certain vegetables like tomatoes, spinach, carrots. The phytochemicals, you get more out of a cooked tomato and spinach than you do if you ate it raw. Okay, so I have some preserving nutrient tips for you. You should always store foods at the correct temperature. If they should be in the fridge, put them in the fridge. If they should be room temperature, leave them at room temperature. Keep veggies in the crisper drawer of your fridge, because it has a certain type of humidity in there. Wash and scrub your veggies. Instead of peeling them, most of your nutrients are in the skin of the vegetable or the fruit. Use the outer layers of the cabbage or lettuce, the greener the better, as long as they're not damaged, because that's where most of your nutrient is, not in the white part, in the core, in the middle. All right? Microwave, steam, roast, or grill veggies rather than boil. When you boil vegetables, you are boiling all their nutrition out, all their nutrients out. And then you do what? You pour the water out of it and you just let it go down the drain. So, use those other cooking methods. And we're going to talk deeper about them in the next activity. Save the water from steaming or boiling, if you are going to do it that way, for nutrient-rich soups or gravy stock. So think about mashed potatoes. You can't, cook or boil your potatoes if you don't have enough water in the pot. What I do, though, is when I'm done and I'm about to drain the potatoes, is I drain it into a container that I can use either to make gravy or soup, because that way you're not losing all that nutrients from the potato. Use fresh ingredients. Time hurts nutrient value. So, and I said this before. So make sure that you're using fresh. It's as quick from the farm field to your table as possible. The more time you let things sit around or do your grocery shopping and let it sit in the fridge for a week, whatever the case may be, is just draining more nutrients. And then cook foods quickly. The longer you cook foods, the more nutrients you're killing with the heat. And then finally, I have 5 ways to retain nutrients while cooking. The bigger, the better. I'm sure you remember the 3 things that kill nutrients, and that's oxygen, light, and heat. So oxygen, the finer you chop your vegetables, the more air is being exposed to that particular, product, and it's sucking out all of the good nutrients. Use as little water as possible. That will save your water-soluble vitamins from dissolving and washing away. Consider the time and temperature. Stir frying is so much healthier and better for your produce than it is to cook them, really long, drawn out times. Okay, so long times and high temperatures equal nutrient loss. Cover your pot to hold in the steam so that your nutrients don't evaporate out of the top of the pot. Okay? And it will help cook your product faster because you're holding in the heat. And eat them raw if you prefer. Carrots, cucumbers, well, you don't really cook cucumbers anyway, but eating, certain types of produce raw, peppers, you don't damage any of the nutrients from the product, and it is better for you. So I hope you enjoyed that PowerPoint. I'm glad that you were able to, hear some of the cooking methods. You're going to learn a lot more about them as you dive into your activity for today. So get back onto the Schoology page. You have an assignment there. There is a text document that's attached. You have a graphic organizer to make a copy of. Make sure you do your notes and then send them to me or upload them to Schoology actually for credit. And please don't forget your exit log. Have a great day, a great weekend, and I will see you next week.